We do not pretend, neither have we ever said, that the Argyle International Airport will solve all of the problems in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But we believe strongly that is the IADC and the government believe strongly that this important piece of infrastructure, because that is what it is, this important piece of infrastructure is going to significantly change St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There were many non-believers, but every day I see that we are having more and more believers. And it is mainly because they say, seeing is believing. So they see a beautiful terminal building going up. And in fact, the terminal building is nearing completion. Sometime this year, and I believe it will be sometime in November, this building will be completed. And by December, the contractors, the Overseas Engineering Construction Company, OECC, is required under the contract to hand over the building to the International Airport Development Company. And when we take possession of that building, we are going to start the process of retrofitting it. And by retrofitting, I mean, of course, to put all of the equipment that we need in the terminal building to make it functional. And by equipment, we are talking about things like the conveyor belts. We are talking about the security equipment, the checking desks for the airlines and for the immigration officers, the desks and the chairs. We are going to be inviting businesses to come in and to set up shops. So sometime in December, until we open the airport later in 2014, there is going to be a lot of activity happening inside the terminal building. So the building itself will have been completed by OECC. But after that, there is a big process of converting the building into a usable building. And that process is going to start sometime in December and continuing into the first half of the year 2014. The artworks that we started about 5 years ago, we started that on the 13th of August 2008, and the artworks are also nearing completion. We are right at this point 83% complete in terms of the amount of artworks that we need to get done. And by the end of this year, we will have substantially completed those works. The main things that we have remained to be done, as we consider to be earth and site works, are drainage. We need to build a number of drains, what we call drainage systems. So if you go by the airport, you will notice that we have a fairly big box culvert being constructed near to the terminal building. That is part of our drainage structures. But we also need to build another set of drains to carry the Yambo River under the runway. Because as you know, the Yambo River flows through the Argyle National Airport site. And we intended for the river to continue to flow its natural course. So we are going to create a series of culverts under the runway so that the river flows through these culverts under the runway. And we are going to start those works sometime in October. We also have to build drains to carry the other runoff water from the apron and the other areas of the airport into the sea, so that we are not taking the runoff water from the apron into the river. We are separating the water from the apron and the water from the river so that we take different courses. Because we have environmentalists here, and they will tell you that you don't want to mix the runoff water from the apron, which will have aviation fluid and other things from the aircraft in it, and put that into the river, because we want the treachery that we catch in the Argyle River to continue to flourish. So So we don't want to put any oil or any poisonous substance in that river that will kill out the trees. So we are creating a different system of drainage to carry that water to the sea. We are also now creating two different embankments. One of them is to protect the northern head of the runway from the sea erosion. And we have started that work this week, so that if you go right now to where the Roman Catholic Church used to be, you will notice that we start putting stones in the northern area there. And we intend to create an embankment to protect the northern head of the runway. In the area at the southern end of the runway, we are also creating what we call an embankment on which we are going to install our approach lighting system. And the process of installing that embankment, we are going to be creating a sheltered bay in the Stubbs Bay area. It is going to become what some people might call a breakwater. And that breakwater is going to make the Stubbs Bay area far calmer than it is. I myself am a Stubbs man. I learned to swim in Stubbs. And you know that Stubbs and Argyle are fairly rough areas to swim. And I am so happy now that we can create a sheltered area there where the bay is going to be far calmer and far more enjoyable for our young children to enjoy, especially during the August vacation when they are at home. So I look forward very much to the calmness that we are going to be creating in Stubbs Bay. But that is a byproduct though of something that we have to do to accommodate our simple approach lighting system to allow the planes to land at night. There are several other small buildings that we are going to have to build to support the airport. And two of these are the control tower and the firefighting station. And we have just completed these designs and are in the process of doing some documentation so that we can send out to the public to tender for these facilities. And I suspect that within the next month or so, we are going to be sending out formal invitations for construction companies and small contractors to submit to us proposals to construct these two buildings. These are relatively, compared to the terminal buildings, these are relatively small buildings. And there are many persons in St. Vincent who have experience in construction that can build these buildings. So we are going to give them an opportunity to submit proposals to us to build these buildings. These buildings are likely to take about 6 to 8 months, so that they should be completed sometime in the first quarter of next year or thereabouts. The big part of the project that remains to be done, of course, is the pavement works. And in fact, sometimes people visit Argyle, and because they do not see pavement work started as yet, they assume somehow that these works can't be completed in time for us to open the airport in 2014. You know? And it is really because it is a visual thing. Things may appear difficult, but they're not always as difficult as they appear. The pavement works that we have to do at Argyle is going to take no more than 8 months to complete. And we expect that we are going to start these pavement works either late October this year or early November. So that before mid-year next year, we are likely to be substantially complete in this activity. In addition to that, we do plan to do some shift system work so that we can complete the pavement works even sooner than 8 months. So that in some areas we may very well do 2 shifts so that we can complete some parts of our work in half of the time that we would normally take to complete the work.